let's dive in now and let's start with the Heisman winner, because Heisman was handed out Saturday night, and as we all know and expected, it went to Caleb Williams.
Hey, Baker, he won a Heisman. Last night we saw Caleb Williams out of USC win the Heisman Trophy. NFL scouts drooling over this kid?
They are, but he's not eligible for the draft this year. So I did my research. I'm texting everybody and said, this guy is so good. He would be the top quarterback in this year's draft. He would be the top quarterback in last year's draft. He's not going to be in the college football playoff, but we will see him next college season with Lincoln Riley and the Trojans.
By the way, any excuse that I can get to put Peter Schrager on my show, I have, the utmost of respect for Peter, but he's also just a dear, dear friend. And obviously he's exactly right. You talk with people around the NFL and they are drooling over Caleb Williams. Whenever he comes out, whether it's next year, and he was even teasing, to Chris Fowler, like, oh, maybe 2 more years. It's like, well, okay. I mean, I don't know how much money you're making, but it probably, listen, is going to pale in comparison to what a first pick in the draft is going to get. But he's doing just fine. So I think Caleb Williams might entertain it, but probably not in terms of staying 2 more years. He definitely has to come back for 1 more year. But let's get into what this actually means, because this was obviously he's a great player. I was seeing this freight train come down the tracks for the last month of the season. We all were. Like, he was going to win the Heisman Trophy. He won every single region, by the way. Every single region of voting, he won, some of them by a substantial amount, and rightly so. I could go on and on about his game. What makes his game so good? What makes him so dangerous? But I think maybe the more important point is about this juggernaut that is now being created in terms of the Heisman. His coach, Lincoln Riley, has now had 5 starting quarterbacks in his career as a head coach. 5. 4 of them have been Heisman finalists. 3 of them have won the Heisman Trophy. That's a staggering thought. What Lincoln is doing with quarterbacks is totally unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this before. And it's not just like, hey, they put up great numbers. They're just so damn efficient. They don't turn the ball over. They obviously produce on the stat sheets, and they win a ton of football games. This guy's a ridiculously good coach. And I'm not going to take anything away from Caleb, and I'm going to get to his brilliance in a moment. But I do want to just rest for a moment on, why is this happening? Why is Lincoln Riley the Heisman whisperer, if you will? And there are a few things that we can talk about and break down. And it's not necessarily scheme specific, but it is scheme specific. Let me explain what I mean by that. So Lincoln now has had Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, and Caleb Williams all be Heisman finalists. Of course, Baker, Kyler, and now Caleb have taken home the hardware. You can't say that it's about a system, because every one of those guys is a little bit different. This is not the exact same player. They're not cut from the exact same mold. They didn't play the game the exact same way. So it's not necessarily just like the system, like it has been in the past with some of those like air raid Texas Tech guys. It's like kind of the same player year in and year out. Yeah, different names on the back, but same style of player. These guys have all been very different players. Their strengths, their weaknesses, all been very different. So it's not the system, and yet, yes, it's the system. It's the fact that Lincoln Riley understands that his system has to be quarterback friendly, regardless of the quarterback that's playing in the system. I've talked at length with him about this, and I think one of his best lines that he's ever given me when talking about is this system quarterback friendly? Has it been quarterback friendly? And he always says hey, if your system isn't quarterback friendly, then you need a new system. Such a smart line and a smart point, because as we know, if you don't have requisite quarterback play in college football, certainly in the NFL, but in college football, it ain't happening. You're not going to be a great team. He is proving that out year over year over year. And some of the things that I love about it is that it's not just about the system being quarterback friendly. It's also now that Lincoln's system is pliable to the style of football that his quarterback is more suited to. So now here's this guy that's had all these different styles of quarterbacks. They've all been highly successful. They've all gone to New York, and they've all run the same offense, but the offense has morphed and evolved and been pliable enough to fit their strengths. You see Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray each rushed the ball for, over 1,000, right near 1,000 yards. Hurts, I believe, had 20 touchdowns. They all threw the ball efficiently and didn't turn it over, in terms of total number of interceptions. Baker obviously was not going to put up the rushing numbers that those other guys did, but was a juggernaut throwing the ball. Caleb is a bit of both. He's putting up huge numbers throwing the ball, but he's also creating with his legs to a point outside of the pocket, while not creating rushing yards, but certainly threats and the ability to throw the ball down the field. Every one of these guys has been different. And so it's not just is your system QB friendly, it's also is your system QB friendly and pliable enough to adjust to whatever your quarterback can do. And I think that's what Lincoln does best. This is a guy that understands what he has in front of him and how to be successful. If I'm a quarterback out there, there's only a very few number of places that I'm really taking a hard look at. And you know exactly where they're at. Alabama's doing a nice job. Ohio State doing a great job with quarterbacks. Lincoln Riley doing a great job with quarterbacks. No disrespect to anybody else, but this is track record stuff. Every single year you feel like you've got great quarterback play at these places. And it's because the coaches and the coordinators and the system, they are built to showcase whatever the quarterback is strong at. And I think Lincoln's system is no different. I think the main point about the way that Lincoln coaches his players is that he doesn't coach the creativity out of them. A lot of times, coaches in the college level, they can get so concerned with mistakes that they turn players into robots and they lose what made them really good. There's a certain level of creativeness and artistic nature to the quarterback position. You cannot play it like a robot. The best ones have a beauty about the way that they play. Now, it can be in their mind, yes, and they can look like robots, but the creativity and the beauty in their mind is manifesting itself. There can be creativity from an athletic perspective. There can be a creativity in terms of the type of throws that you're making. The point I'm trying to make is that there is no one way to play quarterback. There's no one way to play in Lincoln Riley's system, and that's being proven out. And he's at least confident enough and puts his ego aside as a coach to say, I'm going to let this offense evolve to showcase the strengths of this player versus I'm going to force this player to evolve to showcase the strengths of my offense. Those are two very different things. And I think he's proven out now in his short time as a head football coach that he's going to allow the quarterback to flourish, and the quarterbacks are. And now he's had 3 Heisman Trophy winners. 3. That is staggering when you think about it. I think the other part about this is that you get the sense that the best is still ahead of Caleb Williams just because of how much he grew from his freshman year. Remember, against Baylor and Iowa State, his freshman year at Oklahoma, did not play great. And then he obviously evolved, got better, and played spectacular football this year. Now he's going to have another year. And what you saw from guys like Baker Mayfield when he had multiple seasons as a starter is he got better and better and better. Remember, Kyler Murray had multiple seasons within the system as Baker's backup and then starting. The only guy that only had like 1 year of learning it and operating it was Jalen Hurts. And I've talked with Lincoln at length about where he thought Jalen could have gone had he had multiple years in that system. So when you're looking at a guy in Caleb that is like, well, yeah, he's a better version of Baker. And while he might not be as quick or fast as Kyler, he clearly throws it better than him, and he throws it better than what Jalen did. So the best might still be yet to come. And now he's going to have the multiple years, that third year in the system under Riley. We may not have seen the best quarterback season under Lincoln Riley. He's had 3 Heisman winners. I really believe that Caleb is a generational player. He's kind of like the best parts of Baker and Kyler, and really the only comp for him, as you've heard many times, and I said it all the way back, the USC UCLA game, his comp is really Patrick Mahomes. That's scary. That's so scary. I mean, look at what Mahomes is doing. Did you see that little flip against the Broncos yesterday? It was incredible. So here we are. Riley's got another Heisman Trophy winner. Now USC has another Heisman Trophy winner. West Coast is now relevant. Again, we just don't see many guys from the West Coast do this, and he won going away. He won every single region. Again, we don't generally see this unless it's at USC, and he's able to do that. And Lincoln Riley in this experiment at USC and the experiment of going out and spending huge dollars to get a coach to try to transform something in a very quick time frame has worked. It's absolutely worked, and USC is reaping the benefits of that, and now they've got a Heisman Trophy winner. So congratulations to Caleb Williams among all the other finalists as well.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.